Hi there everyone and welcome on my weekly astrology forecast when I'm going to give you some tips and advices how to best navigate the planetary energy in your life, how to use it to your advantage. My name is Helena Barbara. I'm a professional astrologer and tarot card reader. So let's start. On Tuesday, May the 10th, we are going to have really huge astrological events. Two astrological events actually. So first we have a Mercury turn into retrograde. This one you are probably familiar with. It's happened actually 3 times a year. So Mercury goes retrograde for 3 weeks. So what does mean? Generally, when Mercury goes into retrograde, we can expect a little bit of chaos around the matters with the paperwork, around the mechanical things, the technology. We can expect some delays with travel and general difficulties about the travel. So the biggest piece of advice is try not to buy the electronics during this time. I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but generally during this time when you buy some electronics, this is where you will never be fully satisfied with how it works. There might be many technical problems, technical issues. Generally, I'm always had some problem with my PC. Like every time Mercury goes retrograde, there is some kind of problem, like something doesn't stop working, the camera or other electronic. And I'm just not panic. I'm waiting these 3 weeks and it's just basically magically start to work. So if you expect those type of things, you can just put it on the shoulder of the Mercury retrograde. But if you really plan to buy some electronical things, if you plan to buy the car and things which you need for the transportation, that's really not a good time. So if you can wait, hang on. And also there might be some difficulties with the paper. Often some papers are overlooked, or when you sign the contracts you need to check the things. And sometimes with the travel, you go into the airport and then you realize you forgot the tickets, or there were some delays with the plane. Something, it's something what makes your life a little bit more complicated, difficult. There might be some frustration, but it's nothing really serious. But just for what kind of things you can expect, like this. When we expect the things happen, we are more ready and more flexible to work with. Also, during this day, we have a really important event. Jupiter, the most beneficial, lucky planet in astrology, changed its sign. So Jupiter was traveling in the sign of Pisces for a while actually, and generally Jupiter is traveling a year in one sign and then it switched to another. So that means that during this year, in recent past, the Pisces especially, but along with the other water signs, so Scorpio and Cancer, they had general luck. It might be kind of opportunities coming to them, or it might be just they felt, much more at ease. So right now, when Jupiter moved into the sign of Aries, it's a very good news actually for all Aries sun. So if you are Aries, there is really a big reason for celebration, especially that in May generally there is also another benefic, Venus traveling through the Aries sign. So generally Aries should feel really uplifted, really motivated, and has some opportunities coming into their life, or at least feel actually really good. So then what does generally mean for Jupiter changing the sign? That's a very important thing because Jupiter is going slowly. So Last time Jupiter was in the sign of Aries like 12 years ago, so it's not something what happened every year. Last few months when Jupiter was in the sign of Pisces, it was more about the spirituality, spiritual life, the feeling of connection with the others, and maybe some creativity, working with religions and feeling the connection with the other people. But the sign of Pisces is the last sign of zodiac, and we need to know that the zodiac is a cycle which represents some kind of human experience. We all experience the beginnings in our life of any activities we start, the culmination, and also we experience this finishing and the transition. So sign of Pisces, it's all about the transition, actually, about shade the old skin, transform, and just some kind of dying of one thing to move into, in order to move to the fresh start. So it's generally more foggy sign, so the things happen more inside of us than the outside. So we could have some insight, some better intuition, we could feel more spiritually uplifted, and if we had some opportunities, it could be more like they just come out of blue. There were some signs, or there were some just, you know, the situation when something happened at the right time. So now when it moves to Aries, all these murky things, all these things which were just happening behind the scene or in us, asking us to, it's more about getting encouragement to show to the world how we really are, who we really are. It's a very good aspect for, it's a very good time for independent activity, or just show yourself to the world, show your skills to the world. Aries is a sign of pioneering, it's a sign of being seen, giving the impact to the world outside. You know, Aries is a warrior, so he is not hiding the things, he's just showing off. So generally Jupiter in the sign of Aries will encourage us to just do the things what we want to do, to just pursue our dreams, but more in the matter like we fight for what we really wanna be. We take a risk, we challenge ourselves, and this is done with some excitation. So the downfalls of this aspect, because of course there's always some pluses and minuses. The sign of Aries, it's a risk taker. He might be too prone to action without thinking about it. And Jupiter, it's all about expanding the horizons, do the things in the big way. So doing the things with the big way, take a risk. It's encouraged, but you just try to think. Try to prepare a little bit of yourself. Try to think about the consequences, and also. It just might be like we might be more egoistic because we just feel like this is the time for us. First few days of Aries will feel it the most, actually, will feel this energy the most. A very harmonious and uplifting time for Leos and Sagittarius, especially those born at the beginning for actually whole May. Then Jupiter will be in the fire sign of Aries until the end of October, and then it will come back for a little time to the Pisces. So the watery signs, especially from the last decanate, they will still feel this beneficial influence, and in December it will come back and spend the rest of the year and the part of the next year in the fire signs. So that's about the Tuesday. Of course, for the Mercury retrograde, we need to count the Monday, so day before it's turned retrograde, it's the stationary phase. So on Monday and on Sunday, the 8th, we already might feel this confusion and you know, just the mind doesn't work like this. We can be very distracted too, because it's going through the signs of Gemini. So we have many ideas, but we might encounter some problem to realize this idea as a Mercury slowdown. Let's say our mind is not working like it used to work, but we feel this excitation, we are impatient and willing to take a risk. Then on Thursday, on May 12th, we get Sun conjunct North Node. So that's add additional gearing to it, to this energy, because what conjunct the North Node, it's unsatiable, it's desires for more and more. Here in the sign of Taurus, it might desire more food, it might desire more goods, we might generally feel being more possessive. It's more about having acquired the goods, so all kind of consumption. So those are the stuff like what my general advice would be, a little bit more for this beginning of the week until the Friday, actually a little bit more of prudence and thinking before acting. Thinking before acting on the impulses. On the other side, if you got something what you would like to share with the world but you didn't know how, this is the moment when the planetary energy encourages you to follow your dreams and to fight for what you want. On Sunday, actually, we have the last two aspects, and this is a little bit different energy. So we have a Sun square Saturn. So I feel like if we overdo something during this week, this is where we can encounter the problems with it, because Sun squaring Saturn, it's all about kind of like it's a stopping block. Like you cannot move anymore, you cannot do the things, like you feel like some kind of resistance. You might encounter some kind of obstacles on your way. And also it's Saturn generally, it's a kind of a teacher for us. He's teaching us the patience, the resilience, and telling us that, you know, he's punishing us for what we didn't do. So if we overlooked something with this Mercury retrograde, this is where the trouble can come to us. It also might be that those kind of delays or the consequences of some action can happen during this day. There is another aspect, there is a Sun sextile Neptune around this time. So that gives us the clue that while we encounter some difficulties, we might get some glimpse of intuition, how to resolve it. It invites you to listen your intuition, and there is this possibility to resolve things by being more flexible and even a little bit passive and willing to compromise with the things that are coming instead of fighting some kind of difficulties. So that's actually it for this week. I hope you like it. If you do, please subscribe to my channel, like this you will not miss next episodes. I wish you a very great week and see you next week.